Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joe Imbriano. I'm a Fullerton resident. I grew up in Garden Grove, spent most of my life south of the 22 freeway, and I do appreciate what you have done over the years in taking care of the rat problem and the other issues that directly impact public health. But I think what's happening is we're getting really ahead of ourselves. I'd like to address the position that this governing body has taken against this potential state law that actually is in the best interest of the residents and the citizens of the County of Orange. I don't see any problem with a date or time that a spraying will occur, or the precise area in which the pesticides will be applied, or the type of pesticide being sprayed by brand name or chemical common name, or the amount, or any precautions associated with it. I don't understand why there is not full disclosure being fully supported by this governing body. It doesn't make any sense to me why we would take a position against warning the public of what could be an equally dangerous endeavor. I know there's a lot of talk about Zika, and I know there's a lot of talk about the day-biting mosquitoes, and the position is that it has now become an inescapable vector because it bites during the day, therefore drastic action is warranted. But the information that I've presented to the clerk will address the concerns with Zika and the fact that correlation does not equal causation. So we have not medically established that Zika virus is responsible for microcephaly. That has not been medically concluded. I would also like to make a point that if concerned citizens would like to, they can contact their police department and report a penal code violation if the spraying does take place. Before we go into operations approving any type of aerial assault on this blown out of proportion threat, I'd like to see legal vet the possible penal code section 375 before we proceed, because I will probably be the first one to make a phone call. I know that a lot of you have been here for quite some time in civic responsibility, and I know that this is all a very new problem. West Nile neuroinvasive disease has not been prevalent. It's a rather recent phenomenon, and we do have to protect the segments of our population that you've sworn an oath to protect. But I will tell you that application of pesticide against the wishes, the wills, or even the understanding or the knowledge of the residents is, I believe, criminal. There are ways to handle this: boots on the ground, dealing with the sources of the problem, public information campaigns, sitting in the city council chamber and the magazine rack aren't going to do the trick. You've got to go neighborhood to neighborhood. You've got to have outreaches at the schools. And aerial assault is not going to address the issue of the underground repositories of stagnant water where these mosquitoes breed, like in the storm drains, the tunnels under Disneyland, the areas that are covered by trees, and areas that are not accessible because something is overhanging the source of the stored water. So I'm strongly opposing any action to oppose legislation on full disclosure. And I commend Senator Wynn for what she's done, and I would hope that this board will vote no on that. And my website's called thefullertoninformer.com, and if anyone has any questions, my contact information is there. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Lisa Heyrend.
Hi there. I wanted to come and speak today just to let you guys know that I had a brother who passed away from lung cancer due to environmental toxins. He was a non-smoker, and I think that when we do spraying like this, it needs to be taken into some serious consideration. When we were kids, we grew up in Garden Grove. They were spraying the malathion over golf land, and I remember we were there playing, ducking into the little houses, concerned about all this stuff that's coming down. you know, we don't know if his lung cancer was due to that kind of spraying. There's so many things that we are, you know, bombarded with every day. However, it should be taken into consideration, and I'm an asthmatic. I should have time to decide what I want to do before these sprayings take place, or how I would like to protect my family. If that would mean going out of town during this time. I don't know, I'm completely opposed to the spraying. However, as a community and people with children at school, we should be entitled to that time to know what we want to decide to do with our families. So I think that's very important. You know, I know there's politics, everything's involved, there's a lot of money involved, but our number one concern should be our health before anything else. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Ms. Stephanie Klopfenstein?
Yes. It's not an easy one. Good afternoon. I'll keep my comments brief. Again, I'm Stephanie Klopfenstein from Garden Grove. First of all, I am in favor of the bill. It could be passed by Janet Wen. I do feel that 7 days is maybe not even enough time to truly alert the public, but I think it's a start. I feel that in the spirit of transparency and cooperation, I feel that the public deserves the right to know and further educate themselves as a spraying could potentially take place, not only just to prepare their properties, but the community. So again, I'm in favor of that. And in keeping with that, obviously I realize you're not going to be voting on the aerial spraying today at this meeting. But a New York Times article was published on February 12th of this year, and a few people had some comments in regards to aerial spraying. Michael Doyle, who's the head of mosquito control in the Florida Keys, he mentioned that traditional techniques of spraying from trucks and planes is like fighting Al-Qaeda with an old-fashioned army. And other people went on to explain how outdated it is and how it's not really addressing the issue that the Aedes aegypti mosquito brings about. I think someone called it the cockroach of mosquitoes. So that really says something to the power of this mosquito, and how, again, the door-to-door action and boots on the ground techniques are going to be needed. I realize that costs money and takes a lot of time, but I hope that's something that everybody will take into consideration, especially as this mosquito continues to populate more. And finally, I want to talk about the town hall meetings. I just got this today from Mr. Dever, and I really appreciate everything you're doing to, again, in the spirit of transparency, to bring these meetings to the public. I'm very much looking forward to attending the Garden Grove meeting. And I had mentioned to him today that I just hope that there's some information put out there, and it sounds like there will be, that give the public an idea of how to present themselves at the meeting, how to formulate their questions so that this can be an educational experience, and obviously everybody can take back some good information from it. So I really appreciate these town halls, and I hope that it really helps the public in a great way. So thank you again.
Thank you very much for your comments, appreciate that. That's all that we have listed today for public comment. Announcement of late communications.
Yes.
Tanya, would you like to announce?
Yes, we do have some late communications in front of you. You have your report of district activities, which is agenda item 8F. You also each have a flyer on the upcoming town hall meetings. You have your 2016-17 proposed budget, and there's also a sign-up sheet for the budget presentations. The Budget and Finance Committee will meet March 24th, and the other dates are April 7 and April 12. So please mark down if you would like to attend any of those days. The meetings will be at 11:30, and I will follow up with you if you want to attend any of those meetings. Thank you. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. And we also have corrected the minutes as we are going to pass them. They are amended, and what I have amended is the, I put in the full amount for the abatement procedure that we went through for the $897,068. So that is what has been updated in the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about something that was referenced, that Senator Wynn has evidently signed on to something. I wasn't familiar with what that reference was.
It's in your agenda package.
Okay. Which item is it?
Monthly items of discussion. Anything particularly listed on yours? No?
They're included in the agenda.
Okay, just. Okay, recognition of outgoing trustee. Andrew, I want to thank you for your dedicated service. And best of luck. We'll present these bags to his family and us party gifts in another date. Thank you very much. Committee reports. Executive committee report.